Let's welcome in the Powerhouse panel for the first time on this Tuesday morning. We start with former Nevada State GOP chairwoman and Republican strategist Amy Tarkanian is with us. Policy analyst and Project 21 member Donna Jackson back with us this morning. And constitutional attorney and Newsmax contributor Amir Benno is here as well. Good morning to all. A lot to get to. Vice President Kamala Harris has arrived in Mexico. This is the second stop in her trip. She met with the president of Guatemala yesterday, but she had a very clear message for the people of the Northern Triangle countries, particularly people living in Guatemala. Take a listen.
I want to be clear to folks in this region who are thinking about making that dangerous trek to the United States-Mexico border. Do not come. Do not come. The United States will continue to enforce our laws and secure our border. There are legal methods by which migration can and should occur. But we, as one of our priorities, will discourage illegal migration. And I believe if you come to our border, you will be turned back.
Amy, to you first. Look, I played that soundbite in its entirety deliberately because we've been waiting for that for 76 days since she was appointed to run the crisis. Where's all that talk been throughout the last 4 months, really?
Right, and that's actually some pretty tough talk coming from one faceless tough cookie, like she likes to think of herself.
Yeah.
If you caught, she actually used the word believe. She said, I believe if you come to our border, you will be turned back. Now, in another clip in that same speech, she says, I'm here today to show you, or that I'm on the ground, to show you that I'm on the ground. It was something along those lines, to show you that I'm on the ground. Right. So that right there tells me, this confirms it is for show. And I don't see what kind of inroads she's going to be making by just anticipating that throwing money at these possibly corrupt countries is going to make any inroads with how we combat with what we do give and incentivize to these people who are crossing our borders illegally.
Well, she lost the support of AOC pretty rapidly yesterday. Donna, AOC was quick to put out a tweet. She does not agree with the vice president. I'm pretty convinced, by the way, that this is more presidential ambition language that she used yesterday deliberately, Kamala Harris. But here's AOC's tweet. This is disappointing to see. First, seeking asylum at any U.S. border is a 100% legal method of arrival. Second, the U.S. spent decades contributing to regime change and destabilization in Latin America. We can't help set someone's house on fire and then blame them for fleeing. Again, this coming from somebody who's been an outspoken supporter. My, how quickly the tides have turned. Donna, to you.
Well, this was all for show. AOC's sentiment is exactly the same one Kamala Harris has, and that is making sure that we have as many people come in illegally as we can in order to make sure that we change the demographics of a lot of these blue states that are losing people and red states to try to flip them blue. She doesn't mean a word of it because it's her administration that's actually encouraging people to come here illegally. And I just want to say one thing. If she would have said that 6 months ago, a Trump cabinet member would have said those same words, they would have been called racist.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. And if, by the way, if she had said that 5 months ago, right around inauguration time when this crisis began, we wouldn't have much to talk about. Because we'd be like, well, at least the vice president is leading on this issue. Amir, it's interesting. She's down there trying to learn more about the root causes of the problem. The root causes are that these countries have many problems, but is that really the American people's problem right now?
No, it's not, Rob. I mean, I've used the analogy before. It's like a cancer patient going to an oncologist and being told, listen, I'm not going to treat your symptoms. I'm not going to treat your cancer. I'm going to try to stamp out the tobacco industry. It does nothing to help the problem that we're facing here and now today. And by the way, what Kamala Harris said is wrong. She says we're enforcing our laws. They're not enforcing their laws. The INA criminalizes illegal border crossings. The Biden administration has chosen, and most recently has given federal prosecutors the discretion to not prosecute illegal border crossings. And so they're not enforcing the INA. More than that, they're actually inviting asylees, people to come and apply for asylum at the border. So, she can go down there 70-something days after she's been, designated the point person and say, don't come to the border. But her words don't matter. What matters are Biden's policies. That's what's attracting people. In fact, the day that he was elected, you had the coyotes down there in Guatemala trying to get all the children together to make the trek up to the border. It has nothing to do with her words. It has everything to do with Biden's policy.
Amy, I want to talk about Joe Manchin and what's going on in West Virginia. He's a Democratic senator there in West Virginia. He is against the Voting Rights Act, this For the People Act, which would fundamentally change the way people vote in federal elections in all 50 states if this were to pass. He brought up a really good point. So Jen Psaki was talking about this in the briefing room yesterday. West Virginia, only 29% of the voters in the fall voted for Joe Biden. Joe Manchin is somebody that is back home in his district all the time. He's known as being one of those senators that spends a lot of time back home. Don't you think he was probably acutely aware of where the people of West Virginia are in this issue?
Yes, and the fact that he's also a former Secretary of State, you would think that they would actually want to sit down with him and find out what works, what doesn't work as far as with the election process and how it functions. And I think the fact that he is taking such a strong stance against his own party, and he can see right through what's going on and even allude to the fact that President Biden, who campaigned as a moderate, is now gone complete opposite of 180, and he's allowing the progressives to take over the reins. This is very, very smart on his part to be speaking up and out about the dishonesty that's taking place, whether if it's with his own party or not. So I applaud him for doing this.
Well, in his op-ed, by the way, that he wrote over the weekend, Donna, he referenced, so 2017, not that long ago, but Donald Trump was president at that time, 33 Democratic senators signed a letter to the president saying that the filibuster must stay in place.
Well, the filibuster is okay when you're a Democrat. It's racist when you're a Republican. The filibuster, we need that because we actually need bipartisan consensus on a voting rights bill. And let me say something. African Americans vote at a higher percentage than white Americans do. So this has nothing to do with voter suppression or anything. It's about Democrats trying to control the elections and trying to guarantee that they stay in positions. African Americans don't have a problem with voting. They all, in 2012, they vote in record numbers. And so this is nothing, has nothing to do with voters' rights. But I think that Joe Manchin, he's doing what's best for his community, and he sees what's really there. And so he's not going to vote against his own community and destroy it. Why would he?
Making that bill dead on arrival, I think, when it does get to the Senate. Panel, we'll pick this back up top of the hour. Looking forward to it.